that we're recording the event, and you can just click OK, and we'll just continue on. Okay, so it is my privilege to introduce Jessica Pierce. Jessica founded Career Connectors in 2009 after the economy had a personal impact on her family. Originally started as a small volunteer group to help people write resumes, it quickly turned into a larger organization helping people get back to work. She is now the CEO of Career Connectors, as well as a known speaker, hiring professional, and career transition expert. Career Connectors has now served over 43,000 people in the Phoenix area and is the #5 networking group from the Phoenix Business Journal. Jessica has spoken at the White House in the Forum on Job Clubs in the United States. She's also been named one of the Phoenix's top 40 under 40 and award recipient of the Arizona Foothills Women Who Move the Valley. Jessica's also been featured in the Arizona Republic, on NBC Channel 12, ABC Channel 15, Arizona Channel 3, and more. Jessica has 3 amazing kids and a wonderful husband. Connect with them on social media and you'll see that they never really take themselves too seriously. You can often hear them say, "Living the dream." Jessica, take it away.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, and afternoon, and lunchtime, and someone's calling from India. So we're all over the world today. So good morning. I am so honored to be here and to be speaking. I get, about once a year, I get the opportunity to speak on our stage. And in the last year, of course, it's been a virtual stage. And so I am honored to be here. And if you don't mind, the first thing I'd like you all to do is, so that I know you're awake and I know you're here, just drop a 1 in the chat box. Open up your chat box, find it. I know some of you are already in there, but just drop a 1. And there we go. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, we have people joining us today. Hey, Sheila, if you could give me control of the PowerPoint, I will move us forward.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's
okay.
interesting for me to be doing different roles. So here you go.
Sheila always does it all, and she's doing extra all today with kicking us off. Really, Sheila came into my life about 8 years ago, but 6 years ago on our team, and we have not been the same since. She's absolutely wonderful. So I am here with Pam Heward today, and we're going to talk salary negotiation, you guys. We're going to talk, if you have ever negotiated a salary, let us know. Drop that in the chat. I want to see if you've negotiated a salary before. Just say yes, because it can be difficult. It can be hard. People don't know where to start. It's one of our most asked questions. So if you have ever negotiated a salary before, just drop that in the chat for us. First, my story, if you don't mind. I'd like to share with you why I'm doing this work today and why I care so deeply and so passionately for everybody that comes through this program, and then anyone ever looking for a job. So about 12 years ago, you guys remember the recession, 2008 and 9, so taking you back to that recession. And I had been at Intel for 10 years. We went through a significant layoff of 10,000 people, and I was part of that layoff. That was in 2007. At that time, I had just had a daughter, and so I decided I wanted to do something different anyway, and I launched my own business. And that became a staffing firm, and that business was serving clients in land development and commercial real estate. So we were hiring people in those industries. Well, then the recession hit. And in May of 2009, some of you remember this, drop a 1 in the chat if you remember going through the recession in 2007, 8, and 9, if you were affected in any capacity by a housing issue, by mortgages that you couldn't pay, by having to go through a job change, by friends and family being affected. Yes, thank you. I see you guys. I see you, Renata, Virginia, Jacob. I see you. I hear you. I feel you. So we went through my business in May of 2009. That's when all banks stopped lending to businesses, to people in land development and commercial real estate. So we literally lost all of our clients overnight. So we decided to shut down our firm. At the same time, at that time, my husband was in recruiting as well. And so he was laid off 3 times in 6 months. And so there we are, May 2009, and We did not have an income. We had our kids at the time and we had an infant, a 2-year-old and a 10-year-old. And we kind of were living the dream, which is why it's a funny tagline for us now, because we had the house in the perfect neighborhood and like everything looked wonderful. But when we went through that recession and we made some really bad choices by, cashing out all of our 401k, cashing out our stocks, we were just trying to stay afloat. We ended up losing our home, short selling our home and moving and becoming renters again. And then I remember Mark and I just like, what is going on? What are we going to do? And I remember waking up one morning and I had just my own revelation that night that I needed to do something about this, that there were people out there, friends of mine, that had never looked for a job before, that were professional, smart, like what is happening? And they needed some help. And the one thing I knew that I could do is help write a resume. So I went to my local church and said, hey, can I help? Can you give me a room in the back of the church once a week? And they said, absolutely. We're getting people calling like crazy. We don't know what to do. And so I said, thanks. And so I started helping people once a week write the resumes, answer some questions about job search. I invited speakers to come in. I partnered up with a really good friend of mine, Denise Gredler, and asked her to bring in some companies. And by the 3rd month, I got a call. I had picked up a contract job. By the 3rd month, there were 250 to 300 people standing, waiting to come into our event. And I get a call from the church and they're like, Jessica, you need to get over here. So I get there and there were all these people waiting. And we had gone from 25 to 300 people overnight. And so that was the day I realized, okay, this is something more than I thought it was. And so we pulled a leadership team together, and then we started doing more events and we started growing. We went all over the Phoenix area. And then of course, in 2020, we have gone virtual. So we're now meeting people all over the United States and the world. And so we've served over 43,000 people in the 12 years since we've been doing this. And let me tell you this, I can tell you that I'm sitting here today in gratitude, that we went through the recession. My family, not all of America, but that we went through the recession, because it reprioritized us and made us realize what was important. And we are now truly living the dream in the way that we want to, not in the way that we were stressed and it was difficult and things were hard. And my husband completely has changed careers. He's an amazing counselor now, and I am getting to run this program and get to work with all of you. And so if you're in that moment right now of, I don't know what to do, I don't know where I'm going next, I am telling you, not only my story, but I've heard thousands of other stories, and almost everybody is thankful they went through a time of transition because it got them something better or something new or made them think differently. And so what I'm here to talk to you about today is specifically salary negotiation, because over the 12 years that I've been doing this work, and also I run another business where I hire pastors and ministry staff for churches, I negotiate salaries and help people on both sides of this. I help people as they're going into a company on what the things to say and do. And I help people as we're hiring, negotiating on the hiring side. And so I will bring you a fully rounded experience on salary negotiation. I'm also going to bring in an expert, Pamela, to talk about salary negotiation and how she does it with her clients. And I'm going to reference a couple really good books. And I'm also going to be giving out a book today. So listen for that in just a moment. So that's why I'm here today. I'm grateful you've all joined us. Thank you for being here. So let's talk salary negotiation. I saw in the chat that some of you have negotiated salaries before. I want you to drop a 1 if you do not like to negotiate salaries. Drop a 1 if you do not like to negotiate. Drop a 2 if it's one of your favorite things to do. Drop a 1 if you do not like to negotiate salaries, and drop a 2 if you love it. Oh man, I do have a couple 2s in there. Love it. You need to be in sales if you're loving this. That's great. It is really a conversation, you guys. And that's what we're going to show you today. It's really the way you approach it is not a demanding thing. It's really a healthy thing for all of us. But most people don't negotiate. 75% don't negotiate. And of those, 25% of those that do negotiate do it wrong. And only about 10% of those who could negotiate do it right. Only 10% really do it right. And so we want to make you a 10%er. We want to make you a 10%er because that is what gets results. And so I have a really good friend. His name is Jack Milligan, friend and mentor. He's an expert in the HR industry. He's been president of the SHRM, Society of HR Management Professionals. He teaches HR courses and certifications, and he has come out to speak at Career Connectors multiple times. He wrote a book, and it's called Make More Money. It's the fine art of asking. Most don't. Jack Milligan is his name, and he is phenomenal. And I'm going to send somebody his book today. So as you have questions about salary negotiation, I can't take specific questions about your specific situation. We can do that in the breakout sessions. But as you have questions today, I want you to drop them in the chat, because I'm going to send you maybe 2 people, maybe 3. I don't know. I'm going to send some books out today as gifts. And so those are for people that are asking really good questions and engaging, but Jack's book is phenomenal. We're going to give you actual content today to use in salary negotiation. And Jack's book, it gives you a style in which you ask. So there's actually a couple different pieces. We can't fit it all into the talk today, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and do that later. So again, how many people, or when you do negotiate, so remember I said, 75% don't negotiate, 25% do. But get this, when an offer comes to your inbox, somebody answer me, what's the first thing you want to do? If you get a phone call and you get an offer, what's the first thing we tend to do? What's the first thing people want to do? Laugh. Okay, it could be laugh. That's right. We want to accept. Well, hopefully it's not too bad. We want to know what is it? What tell me more. Yes, I'm so excited. I've been in career transition for 5 months. Yes, let me have it. Let me do it. And here's the data that tells us only a couple people decline. 75% accept. 75% accept right away. 20 to 25% negotiate. I love that you're saying, give me time to think about it, because that's actually a strategy. That's actually a strategy we're going to talk about today. All right. So the negotiation part is an art. It requires patience and courage. So the fact that you said, let me think about it, that is exactly the first response you need to be having. Let me think about, can I get back to you? I just need a couple days to talk it over. Can I get back to you on Thursday? My son just went through a negotiation, and he just graduated from U of A as a chemical engineer, and he got an offer in Georgia. Excuse me while this mom goes and cries in the corner. Her son is leaving to go to Georgia. Who'd have thought? Anyway, so he's going to Georgia, and I helped him negotiate the offer. And the first thing, when he called me and said, Mom, I got an offer, I told him, say, hey, I just need a couple days to think about this. I'll get back to you. So always, even if you're like, this is the best offer in the whole world, I want you to take some time. When you are negotiating, remember, you get better with practice. And so this is something you can practice with a friend, work on, but also understand that it is very personal. So remember, this is your livelihood. And so for you to take some time is okay. You're not going to find an employer, maybe 1 or 2 outliers there, but you're not going to find an employer that's going to rescind an offer because you need to take a couple days. Remember, one of the things I want you to understand from this talk is that the offer is the best time to negotiate. Oh, Beth, thank you. Georgia is a great place to be. It's my hometown. Thank you. This mama heart feels good to me. But the offer is the first place, the best place to have a higher salary, because as you get into a company that it's harder to get raises to get significant raises. And so the first place you start is where you'll get those incremental raises from there. So you have to start higher. It's the way to best maximize your offer. And it never hurts to ask, you guys. It just never does. Most don't ask, like I said, 75% just accept. And again, all of these data points are in Jack Milligan's book, Make More Money. Connect with him on LinkedIn. He's a phenomenal man. And then most people think, oh, I don't really have any leverage. I want the job. I'm going to take the offer. They're just relieved to have the offer. And I'm going to dispel that in just a minute. But here's something else, you guys. Men negotiate at least 2 times more often than women. And here's what we hear from a woman's perspective. But Jack will tell you this too, and it's in his book. Women will say, well, I'm just going to get in there and I'm going to prove myself. And then I'll be compensated more later. I'll get a higher raise. You guys, that's not how it works. As we just talked about a second ago, you start at a higher number, and then the raises are higher from there on out. Remember, you don't prove yourself when you get into the company. I mean, of course, you want to do a great job, but you are negotiating on the front end. So you have a good starting point. They have interviewed you, they want you. So get that starting point higher. Again, most people accept what's offered. And remember, if you just accept, you're not being patient and you're not being brave. This is the time for you to find that inner tiger, like, yeah, I can do this. Talk to yourself in the mirror, do your affirmations, whatever it takes, and get really confident about yourself. Remember, they chose you. If you do not negotiate, you are leaving a ton of money on the table. All right. Remember, we want you to be a 10%er. And the one rule in becoming a 10%er is never say yes to the initial offer. Here's why. Let me show you this. This is kind of what it looks like in a recruitment cycle. So from the very beginning of a company understanding what the job is, all the way going through sourcing and screening and 10 interviews and doing your references and background and verifying and all the stuff. See that? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 big steps in the recruitment cycle. And as you can see so eloquently, like a kindergartner, I circled offer. That is where the offer is. And you know what this tells us? This tells us by the time that you getting the offer, they want you. They want you. Do you think they want to go back and start over? Do you think they want to go back and redo it all? Some of the worst phone calls I get are, they declined our offer, or they can't do it, or it doesn't work for them. When our hiring managers call and say that, I'm like, no. Because once you get through that first couple interviews, you have a recruitment team over here going, come on, make it through. Come on, don't mess up in the interviews. Let's go, let's do this. Because now they want you and they don't want to start over. So they want you. And remember that when the offer comes, wait, they will give you a couple days. Most people think, well, if I don't respond right away, they'll go to their number 2. Let me tell you a secret, you guys. There usually isn't a number 2 sitting on the bench. They find the person they want. And that, if you're getting the offer, that is you. And so we're going to talk about the processes. And so can somebody drop in the chat just a number 1 if they hear this? Do you understand that they want you when you get to the offer? Somebody give me a 1. Thank you, John. Give me a 1 if you understand, like, by the time you get here, it is you. It is you. All right. I am going to introduce you guys to a really, really good friend of mine. She is a phenomenal career transition, career management coach. And she was in the staffing industry, helping clients all over the country. She's worked with clients of all backgrounds and ages. She runs an organization called Box Free Minds. They have worked with Pam on getting unstuck in their career. She has negotiated so many salaries for her clients, and she actually is going to give us language to the how. So, Pam Heward, welcome to our call today.
Thank you, Sheila. I'm so happy to be here and to listen to you. You're so inspiring.
We want you, Pam. We want you.
Yes. Pay me more money.
Awesome. Okay, Pam. So one of the things we know, and one of the things you and I talked before this talk, you said, hey, listen, the negotiation starts way before the actual offer. So, we have to plan for a whole career transition, but we have to plan for the offer period. And then we have to prepare for it. And then it's performance time. And so can you talk to us about, negotiating starts way before the offer. What does that mean? And to walk us through that.
Sure. And, I wanted to just comment on one thing you said that I find interesting to think about. You know how you talked about this being intensely personal? I would also add on the same note, it's not personal at all. It's both. And what I mean is, you have to remember that a company is looking to hire the very best person they can for the lowest salary they can do for their budget. So it's not about Jessica or Pam or Joe. Hi, Joe. It's about them making the best decision for the bottom line of their company. So when you're in this process, it is intensely personal because it's you and your future and your livelihood. But I think somehow it's helpful to me to remember that we're in a business negotiation. Some people compare this process to dating, and that can get a little, fuzzy. So I just wanted to point out that maybe to get a little perspective that it is about you, that you're doing it, but it's a business discussion.
Absolutely. Very good clarification. I love that.
Okay, so the planning part. So it's important to think about what are your non-negotiables in terms of looking for a role. I mean, and especially now since the virus, the whole idea of remote work, being flexible, there are now companies talking to people all over the country. So no matter where the company has a home base, they're now considering candidates from all over because the remote element has really elevated during this last year and a half or so. So for you to determine, do I want to find somebody with a headquarters here? What hours do I want to work? We can talk about salary, but I would call it all of compensation that are your non-negotiables, and time off. You have and you and your family non-negotiables that in your negotiation, you want to make sure that you don't forget as you're coming up with a counter proposal or discussing the negotiation of your salary.
Pam, one of the things I would love for people to do is you all take a screenshot of this or write this down because these are really important components of what you have to consider before you're going into any kind of really interview. Like, you really have to think through this. And so would you just drop into the chat your number one or number two most important thing? And so is being remote, is it location, is it hours and flexibility? Maybe it's salary, maybe it actually is salary, or maybe it's vacation time. So somebody drop in your number one or number two items that are most important for you. So we can kind of understand what kind of people we're talking to today. Like, what is your most important? Salary for some of you, it absolutely is. How much time is this job? Is it a really true 40-hour a week? Or are we looking at 80 hours and being on call? I remember when my husband was in recruitment at a staffing firm and he was working 50 to 60 hours a week. And then he was doing confirmations for nurses at 4 a.m. for their 6 a.m. shift. And so, I kicked him out of our room. He wasn't going to be making phone calls at 4 a.m. But that was as he was learning to be a recruiter. So it was okay in those days. But look at this.
Yeah, I'm watching this, Don't forget benefits. And also a lot of times my clients will tell me that one of the non-negotiables, having had experiences before, is truly understanding the culture of the company and do my personal core values align with the company's core values and culture. That's an important priority for some people.
Absolutely, that's great. So Pam, talk to us about the difference between salary and compensation. What does that mean?
Okay, to me, this is so important. So salary is just one component of sometimes the amount of income you receive, right? Many of us negotiate a salary plus a bonus based on performance or milestones or profitability of the company. Some people sign on with a smaller startup level company or new company where the possibility for profit sharing or an equity position in the company is possible. That could affect your bottom line income a great deal. Looking at what benefits do they offer? What's their 401k matching? These are all elements that affect your bottom line and your life to do that. You're also negotiating paid time off, education reimbursement, as well as professional development and certification reimbursements. You know, sometimes I'm sure a lot of you heard or seen on applications Six Sigma certifications. And if you've ever been a part of that, it's very expensive to go through this process. If a company is willing to pay for these certifications, SHRM offers great certifications that will really help you advance your career. If a company is willing to invest in these things, that also is definitely part of the compensation. So I also have a daughter, by the way, with 3 small children. So the ability to have flexible hours, work remote, and get some of her work done after everyone's gone to sleep, that's really important to her. So all of these elements, I believe, make up the entire compensation package for you to negotiate and consider when you're talking to a company.
You know, to talk about that for a second, Pam, one of the things we're seeing, and you guys can write this down and just do a search on this later, is something called the Great Resignation.
Yes.
And it comes from, 2020, the pandemic, and, kind of a reboot of what's, who knows what's going to be happening over the next couple of months, but this Great Resignation. And it is because so many of us had a moment in time where we were able to really think about, to stop, to pause, and really think about what we want moving forward. And so is it, we need to work for a corporation that I can get the best salary? Absolutely. For some people, that is what is needed. And that is the role in your life, in your family, and the phase you are in. And some people are like, listen, I might have my kids home again. Oh, yeah. Please, dear God, no, but we might have to. And then you're like, well, I need a job that's flexible, that can work with me on that. And so, or I need benefits. I'm the one in our family that's responsible for benefits. And so whatever is most important to you is okay. You just have to be super clear on what is the most important thing, because many people are leaving their jobs because it's not working out for them. And so why don't you get a job or run a business or do something that what you need at the time you accept the job? Because employers are really being way more flexible than I've ever seen them, ever now in the hiring. All right, Pam, so the
only thing we didn't touch on is a sign-on bonus and annual bonuses. So I just want to make sure everyone's clear about a sign-on bonus, because this has been a resurgence I have seen not only happening, but in the job descriptions and when recruiters are putting the roles out there, they're presenting that they're going to offer a sign-on bonus to people. That is relatively a new thing. So definitely something to consider. And how great to start a job where you negotiate a good salary as well as a upfront bonus just to, launch you in your career. So really important element to consider when you're talking about your compensation. That's why I always say, let's just not talk. You want a fair salary with everything else.
That's great. We had a question about benefits. Are they negotiable? Yes and no. So it depends on the company. I have worked with clients that they've had like 3 or 4 different benefits plans, and you can choose any of those. I've worked with clients that have they're part-time, non-exempt people, maybe don't get benefits. I've seen people actually that are part-time, non-exempt, negotiate benefits into their package, even though it wouldn't normally be part of it. I've seen people negotiate a lower rate for them on their benefits. And so, yes, it can be negotiable.
And also sometimes companies will, if they don't have a benefits plan, but you do, they will talk about a reimbursement to you to cover your premium also.
That's a good one. Absolutely. All right. So planning, some more of the planning is around research. And so before you ever go into a negotiation, whether it's salary or you're negotiating for something you're buying, you have to do some research. You have to know where you stand. Like, what is the expected salary range? And so Pam's going to walk us through some of the options here and some of the places you can go look.
And so these are a few of the sites that you can go to. So, and I would add Zippia to this because sometimes they offer great information. So when you are looking at, when I work with clients and we're trying to determine, okay, what's the roles that we're looking for? And, you know, it's kind of like you want to, in your search, say, what do companies now call what I do? I don't know if you've noticed that job titles can change all the time. So it's important to know, you know, the difference between a product manager, program manager, a project manager, and where do your skill sets fit, so that you can do a search. And really, these are all really good sites that I have found where you can go to. Let's just pick salary.com as an example, but it's true for all of these that you've put here. You do a search by job title. You can also put in the name of a company if you know, all right, I want to work at Honeywell, and what does Honeywell pay for a business analyst position? And they will give you the salary ranges for the positions, and they will also give it to you by parts of the country. So you know, Phoenix salaries are different than New York salaries. Though I will have to tell you, in the last year, a lot of the rules that we've had about these research are shifting because now it's remote. So it adds a whole new element, but the information is still there. The other part of researching is on sites like Glassdoor, or to be honest, Google reviews. You know, you can go to any company and look at the reviews. In addition to the compensation and salary feedback that you'll get, you also want to read what people are saying about working at the company. I mean, that should also, I understand that it's not directly related to salary, but I can tell you from talking to enough clients and in our experience that, you know, all the money in the world sometimes may not be enough for the way you're treated or disrespected, or the ethics of a company matter to a lot of people. So research salary ranges, and I think you'll notice maybe you can put this in the chat box as well. I am floored sometimes when I would ask for salary for, let's say, a senior project manager at a company, and the salary range is anywhere from 45,000 to 150. I mean, they're crazy, but there is a median range. You can zero it in by location. They give you a lot of advanced search tools. So play around with these tools and find a range. I think it's really important to find the range. And generally speaking, we're just throwing out the bottom level because most of you all, I believe, are skilled, experienced professionals. So if you have more than 3 to 5 years experience, you're not going to be a beginner entry level person. That's
right. Absolutely. Good. So what I wanted to show you guys, someone had dropped in ONET on here. And so I just wanted to mention, this is just a quick snapshot we have from a workforce and data analyst expert in the Phoenix area. His name is Trevor Stokes. And he pulled a report for us. And this is just an example. And again, like Pam said, it's a wide range. And so you can see for healthcare and social assistance, we have almost 400,000 jobs as of December 2020 in the Phoenix area. And the average wage is around $65,000. Again, that's a big range, but I just want to give you an idea, like you can find out this information. You can dig in, you can see like for manufacturing, 180,000 jobs, average is $87,000 in the Phoenix area. Wholesale trade, 100,000 people, 93,000 is the average wage. And so do some research. You can find this information out both with those websites we just mentioned and then with ONET. And it's, we'll drop in the link. Oh, somebody already did. onet.org is the link for that site. All right, so now we have been through the planning phases. Now let's prepare. How do we prepare for an offer? So I'm going to ask Pam some questions. And if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat around salary. Pam, how do we answer these questions? When someone asks, what salary are you looking for? Or on the application, it asks you to put a salary in. How do we respond to that?
So let's start with the application, because it's kind of the order of things, isn't it? You know, you apply and they say, you know, what salary are you looking for? Some people, depending on the application that the company's using, you have the ability to do some enter in different things. So sometimes you can put in a range. Most of the time I find that is you can't. So if you've done your research, what you can put in the application process is the low end of the range in the beginning or the mid range. Other people, I read about this a lot, by the way, and what the experts are saying. I mean, let me just point out a few things about that. If you go to, there's lots of sites, jobhunt.org, HR Drive, the Phoenix Business Journal just posted an article about the court rulings that are in place in Arizona about the companies not being allowed to ask this in Arizona. Lots of parts of the country, you're not allowed. Federally speaking, they do not want, it's considered information that's discriminatory and can affect what the company's going to offer you, and they say it's not allowed to do it. Are companies still asking? Well, yeah, they still are. So I just wanted to point out that there's a lot of law and information, you know, contesting this information going on in the courts about this. But you can also, some people put in the word negotiable if it lets you put language in there, which to me, that would be my top choice. If it allows you to put letters, right, say negotiable. Some people put 1, 2, 3, 4 or 1, 1, 1 in there, you know, just giving it numbers, but not giving a number. And others will put in the minimum salary range that they have found for the position. And I think that's okay, because once you get, what you want to do is get to an interview. Once you get to an interview and you're talking about the role and the responsibilities, it's another opportunity to discuss compensation. So you're not stuck with that number if you put it in there. Okay, so that's in the application. Now we're in the interview. And so Pam, what salary are you looking for? Here's some language that I've worked on with my clients. Jessica, that's a great question. I've actually given it a lot of thought. And what I have found is the salary range for this role is anywhere from 90 to 120,000 a year. I'm comfortable in that range. Can you tell me what is the salary for the position? And then you've not told them, like, look, I can't take this for any less than this number. And you've asked them to tell you the salary.
Absolutely. I just dropped that in the chat, Pam. I think one of the things that's really important is letting them know you've thought about it. Like, oh, I hear this all the time.
You've done your homework.
I don't know. I don't know anything what Phoenix, I don't know about Phoenix. I don't know the cost of living. Like, don't say that. That means you haven't done any research. So the fact that you've given it a lot of thought, that you know the salary range, and then you ask the question about what is the range for this position. And
now let me add on to that before you go to the next thing, because sometimes what happens is I say, you know, anywhere from 90 to 120, whatever the number I just gave you, and the recruiter goes, this is your first screening interview. Usually it's the recruiter asking you this question, and they go, oh, you know, I've been given the salary for this position and it's only 80. So you're like, oh, that's okay, I'm flexible. That's what people will do. I will say to you, and I think Jessica said this earlier, the time to negotiate your salary is not the screening conversation with the recruiter. What you say to the recruiter is, it's a little less than I expected, but I've looked at the company, I'm excited about the position, and I'd really like to move forward in the hiring process, and we can address compensation and responsibilities later.
Absolutely. I
just
love
wanna
that.
bring it- Don't let that derail you.
That's right. So you aren't negotiating with the first interview. You don't negotiate until on the back end where they already, remember, I want to pull that slide back up. They want you. That's
Yes.
when you're negotiating. Don't get yourself cut off at the beginning.
Yeah,
right?
and the recruiter doesn't negotiate salary. He or she is a box checker, making sure that you check off the boxes to move forward in the process. So you want to make sure that they understand you want to move forward and you're qualified.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to move on, Pam, because I want to show them some of the negotiation offers. And so let's talk about the components of an offer. You mentioned a sign-on bonus and that it's being, I've seen a resurgence in it as well. Can you talk to us about that and why?
Yes, so sign-on bonuses, historically, the percentage off, usually it's a percentage of the annual salary. So just to give a kind of a demarcation of, percentages, generally, director, VP, and above level positions, the salary bonus, the sign-on bonus can be anywhere from 15, 20% or higher. In other positions, between 5 and 10% is common for a sign-on bonus. So, if you're looking at, I don't know, let's just pull it a $60,000 a year position, that could be anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 right up front for you when you start your new job.
Absolutely. And so then, of course, we have the regular salary. Total compensation is all of this. It's everything.
Yeah, that's bonuses, profit sharing, incentives. Most companies are working at, milestones. If you meet them, there is some kind of bonus program. Be sure that you understand what they are and how they're achieved.
Absolutely. And then, of course, vacation and PTO, that's always negotiable. And then your bonus structure. I just wanted to remind you all that I am sending out from Amazon the Jack Milligan book, Make More Money. And so if you have any questions, I'm going to be giving it out to people that have really good salary negotiation questions. So feel free to drop those in. And if we have time, we will be addressing those. Is pension negotiable as part of an offer?
That's a good question. The first answer is I'm not sure, because I would venture to say that pension may not be negotiable, but the name is severance packages after you leave are often negotiable up front. Especially if you're negotiating with a newer company that they're in the initial rounds of funding and things may not progress the way the company wants, and you're left without a job sooner than you think, they will often say negotiate a severance for you based on weeks or months of employment up front. But pension, I think we would need to research it to answer that.
And not very many companies are offering pensions, but they're
That's
more
true.
federally connected or government connected, which are rated jobs, not ranged jobs. When we talk salary range, and that's rated jobs are not negotiable typically. And so that would be would be my guess, unless, again, you're talking about when you're leaving.
Yeah.
Okay. So Pam, one of the things we hear all the time, and especially again, going back to at the beginning, I talked about women will say, oh, I'll just prove myself. Some men do this too, but many women will say, I'm just going to prove myself and then I'll get a raise. That's not how it works, everyone. Remember, they want you at the time. So, but let's address this. So there are some people on the call that are working right now, or, all of you will be working. Do you have any pointers on asking for a raise or negotiating for future raises?
Yeah, so to me, I'm going to separate those two. So asking for a raise, I believe when I've worked with clients on this, is about asking for a performance/compensation review. So to me, if you're talking about proving yourself, like you mentioned earlier, you bring these two together. So I would have to tell you that part of the ability to do this is, again, in the beginning, about making sure when you're brought on board that you understand what they consider success to be for you. So understanding up front, what are the responsibilities? How am I going to know that I'm doing a great job for them? So it's in the beginning of the discussions with your job, do you understand if I'm going to be considered successful, what milestones, what skills, what will I have been doing? So when you get to a chance for a compensation review, it's tied into performance. You can say, in the last 3 months, 6 months, I've met these milestones, and based on that, and this is, what am I eligible for an increase in salary or bonus structure? And then, of course, back to the research piece. I think that understanding what are the salaries out there for the role right now, and I think you can bring that data, into preparing for our meeting today, reviewing compensation and performance. This is what I found. Would you be comfortable meeting this number, or how can we come up with milestones that will allow me to get to this earning or compensation?
Yeah, that's great. And we even had somebody on the call, Judy just mentioned that she's been successful after asking for a raise after a big win. So that would be
that's a great idea
to go in. All right, you guys. So we've been through the preparation, we've planned, and we've been through the preparation, we've prepared. And guess what? It's time. You get the offer. You're so excited. You're ready to do this. And what's the first thing we do? Wait. Be patient. Remember, ask for some time. If you understand that, drop that in the chat. I want everyone, drop a 1 if you understand that you are to wait as soon as the offer comes in. I want you to walk away today when you get that call or you get that email, and I want me to be sitting on your shoulder, Pam to be sitting on your shoulder, and we're screaming, wait! It's the first thing you're going to do, because remember, to be a 10%er, you need to wait and never say yes to the initial offer. So what we'd like to do right now is walk you through an actual example of an offer. There's a question here, is how long do you wait? I'll give you my opinion, Pam, you can add on. I usually say, hey, if it's a Tuesday, hey, can I get back to you by Friday? Like, I usually don't make it too long, but what's your guidance, Pam?
Well, my experience, especially lately, because everything is remote, in-person offers just are not happening as much. So usually when the offer is, you get a call from the recruiter saying, we're sending you an offer. And then you get something, and in the offer, it's almost like real estate contract. Have you ever seen it? Here's the offer, we like an answer. And usually they give you about 2 to 3 days in there. If they don't specify that, I would email them back or call, depending on what your comfort level is, and say, thank you so much. I'm so excited to get this offer from you. And depending on how much you like to joke around a little bit with people, I would recommend that you say, one of the secrets to my long marriage is that we're a partnership, and any big decisions like this we make together. So I look forward to looking at what you've sent me. We're going to review it. I'm going to send back any questions I may have, and I'm sure I can get that back to you within the next 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, and even if there's a note in here, someone is not in a position to wait. Even if you feel like you need to take that offer, even an hour or 2, like, get your thoughts together before.
Sure, that's true too. End of the day, and then you reach out to your coach, to Jessica, Sheila, to somebody, and make sure you read it and have somebody else read it, because you're too close to it. That's where you're talking about intensely personal. You need someone who isn't to read it and say, what do you think they mean by that? Or what's this? And
that's right. And Tony, yes. The question was, do you respond right away? Yes, you respond right away that thank you for the offer. And we're going to walk through that right now. So yeah, this is a real offer that came in with an annual base salary of $80,000. There was a guarantee on it of $25,000 if they performed. They got a truck, and the incentive was a $21,000 with a sign-on bonus of $5,000. Pam,
and they gave them a vehicle too, by the way. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, hey, what about this offer? If we could all just get this offer. And so that was the offer. And now we have a counter offer or a counter proposal. A counter proposal sounds, I don't know, less intimidating to me. I love those words, counter proposal.
Yeah, I would always use the word proposal, because when one of the things, if I can reference Jack again, when I heard him speak, that this is about, he would say, and his favorite thing that I remember was, is there any wiggle room? Is there any flexibility with the discussion? You let them know that I'm proposing something to you. This is a discussion. It's not a demand. The minute you put somebody on the spot like that, you've changed the dynamic of the conversation.
Yeah. And I love the fact that, especially if you're going to be in any kind of negotiation role, customer negotiations, client services, like your negotiating now is showing them that you're going to do a great job at your job. Thanks, Chris, for that comment. And so I want you to talk through this, Pam. This is actual language that was used in a proposal. So
I refer to this as utilizing the sandwich technique. So the way it goes, first layer is the bread of the sandwich is, I appreciate the offer. I'm excited about the opportunity. I was impressed with everyone I met. Whatever you honestly felt that was a positive. The meat, the middle is the comment you're going to make. I carefully read the offer. I'm ready to join. I want to go over these, propose these few items. And then you end with the other side of the sandwich with, again, another positive. I am very excited. Once we work this all out, I'm ready to hit the ground running, to be a great contributor to the organization. So I like you positive on either end with the meat of what you want to propose or ask in the middle.
Great. And I love that, multiple times they say they're excited to work for this company.
Yeah, you want to make sure they know that.
Absolutely. And again, I'm going back to it, you guys. They want you. Remember, they're waiting on pins and needles to get your response as well. And so I want to show you the results of this counter offer. Walk us through this, Pam.
So the annual base salary he asked for, I want to say it was like 103. And he asked for an increase in sign-on bonus. So bottom line is they essentially met him right in the middle, which is to be for you and just for us in this room was exactly where he wanted to be. So part of a counter proposal is, remember, it's a negotiation. So if you're looking for 90, don't ask for 90, ask for something. And usually meeting in the middle or somewhere around there is this is a common result. And he didn't ask for anything different other than the three elements that are highlighted. So he asked for a $20,000, I think. And then, so again, they brought it up to 15,000, and they were happy to meet his 4 weeks of PTO. So he was thrilled with the offer, and he still got to get the truck. Very, very happy result for him.
So I love how, based on research, he came back with offers that fit. And one of the questions in here is, how do you balance what the data says and kind of your experience? And so if they come back and you in the data and they're giving you the low end of the range, you should feel confident if you have the experience and you've performed to be able to offer on the higher end or come back in your counter proposal. But 80 to 103 seems like a large range, but look where it landed him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So remember, they want you to feel confident when you're going into this negotiation. All right. So Pam, you have been wonderful today. Thank you for all your guidance. What we're going to do is this call will be sitting on our website. You can come back and reference this. We are also blogging this content. And so we will absolutely be putting this language down so that you can copy and paste it. You can use it.
Can I just say one last thing about this that I forgot to tell you earlier? One of the things that's important to remember in this process, if they come back and say, we have very strict rules about pay grades for certain positions, especially in larger companies, so we're not able to negotiate up front. I have had two experiences where it was with a company, U-Haul. I can say the name, it's because it's a large company. What we did is we said, okay, understood, but we negotiated into the offer letter that in 60 days that he would have an increase in salary and review. to raise the salary then, because the hiring manager couldn't do it at the offer because he was held by very strict categories. The larger the company, this is a thing. And the other part to remember is when you advocate for yourself in this way up front, you set the tone for reviews for yourself and your hiring manager in the future, no matter what happens here.
Absolutely. That's great. All right, you guys, as we're wrapping this up, one of the questions that was asked is contract workers. Can you negotiate sign-on? Can you negotiate salary? How does that play a little different into the negotiation, Pam?
Yes, is the answer. And I know this also because, well, first of all, if you would have asked me about negotiating sign-on bonuses even 6 months ago, I would have said, well, probably not. So things change because of what's happening in our world. So sign-on bonuses are out there. One of my clients was a contract worker, went to Wells Fargo Bank. They absolutely will negotiate and it was an hourly rate. Usually when you're doing a contract position, it's not a salary, it's an hourly rate that they coming in to do a job. So the recruiters, usually you work through a third-party recruiter to do contract work. They have a range based on your experience too. So we absolutely negotiated his hourly rate for his role there.
Awesome. And I have one more I want to ask you about. So I remember the days when salary conversations at work were extremely off limits. Like you were not to talk about it. I don't know if that's so much the case now, but what if you do find out that somebody is, that was hired around when you were hired is making a significant, substantially amount more than you?
Yeah, I would say that those are the worst. This is one where I believe it's appropriate to address it privately with the hiring manager. And I mean privately, because the minute you start making this, public, I think you're not serving yourself well. But I think I would say that if this is a conversation you're going to have with your hiring manager, please call me. Let's talk about how to address it. Because what you want is what's fair, and you want to be able to ask up front, say, I received information and it's really been bothering me, and I want to be able to talk to you about what I found out, and can we clarify this together? I mean, it's about language that says, look, I'm not going to yell at you and belittle you. I just, I want to address this with you. I want to have open communication, which takes me back to your initial research about culture and communication that you can learn about the company up front. The more you know about how the company handles those kinds of things, the easier all the rest of these things are going to be.
Absolutely. Well, Pam, thank you so much for today.
Can
we give a virtual clap to Pam, everyone?
Thank you, Jessica.
She is wonderful. You can reach out to her on LinkedIn. Sheila, if you could drop Pam's contact information in the chat. You may call her or send her an email, but she is available to you if you have any additional questions. She's happy to do a 15-minute call with you. And then if you want to work with her even longer than that, then she is happy to do that. So thank you again. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Now, I told you all I was going to give out Jack's book, Make More Money. And our winner of the Make More Money, are you ready? Thank you for all the great questions. I have like 20 people who asked questions today, and it's going to Tony, Tonee. Tony, drop in the chat, just drop a 1 or a yay or something, so I know you're still there. And then yay. Tony, can you private message me your address and we will get that off to you. All right, you guys. Thank you for a great time. Thank you for engaging in our chat. Thank you for being part of this conversation. Again, we will have this up and running in the next day or so. We'll have the whole webinar dropped in, and then we will have the blog, and the blog will have all the content. So we'll make sure that actual language is in there for when you do go negotiate. All right, you guys, we're moving on to the hiring companies now. I'm so excited to introduce my friend, John Dvorak. He has earned his undergraduate and graduate degrees from Indiana University. He relocated to the Valley over a decade ago and has been in recruiting for both post-secondary schools and larger Fortune 500 companies. He's presented at Career Connectors before. He's not only a good friend, but he's a Ohio State Buckeye fan. John, I had to say it.
Yeah.
He's delighted to be here. So go Bucks. Welcome, John Dvorak.
All right. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here. What a presentation that was with Pam and Jessica. They're just fantastic information. Everything that they talked about was so true, and so many good golden nuggets of information, and it was just fantastic. The only thing I would add to it, just as a tech recruiter like I am, is to really know your worth both on an hourly and a salary basis. And I actually have a link that I'm going to send out. It's directly from Indeed. I'm going to send it in the chat right now to everybody. That's basically like an hourly salary converter, so that basically you can really understand where you fall in the range of things, because I'm sure a lot of you have seen postings that maybe have only listed by the hour or by the annual, and maybe you're thinking about breaking that down hourly or vice versa. So it's good to just know your worth as you're talking to recruiters and such. So for example, I know I need to make at least $40 an hour. Well, that's 83.2, or I know I need to make 83.2 every year. Well, annually, well, that's $40 an hour. So yeah, just fantastic stuff. So anyway, I work for DISYS. I've been with this company for the last several months. We have over 40 locations. We're a very large IT staffing firm worldwide. Those are the locations of all of our offices across the globe. We have a lot of openings right now here in the Valley, and that's why I'm just so honored to be here talking to you guys now, because I hope that I've only got 10 minutes right now, but I sincerely hope that we all can connect on LinkedIn after this. I'm the only John Dvorak in Phoenix. You'll find me, that is my LinkedIn picture. I know the pandemic has made me a little more gray than I was in that picture, but I like to keep it there nonetheless. So anyway, Sheila, next slide, please. So these are some of the openings that we're working on right now, many of which are remote, and some that physically need to sit on site with some of our clients. For example, like in Scottsdale, we have like a .NET developer right now that I'm working on in particular that only requires going into the office maybe once a month, but they do want whoever gets it to be sitting on site in Arizona. So basically, if you're in IT, I want to connect with you, whether you're a project manager, whether you're a software developer. Right now, Java is about the hottest thing out there. So if you are consider yourself a Java expert or anything that you see there, even if you don't see something there, but you want to work in IT, please, connect with me offline, and certainly I'll be in one of the breakout rooms. That is my email address. If you want to send me your email, connect with me on LinkedIn. Again, I'm here to be a resource for each and every one of you. This is by far the best networking group for professionals like yourselves in the Valley. And so pat yourselves on the back for dialing in and being here today. It's absolutely fantastic. So that is pretty much all that I wanted to cover for today. Again, feel free to message me, and don't forget to check the chat for that hourly salary converter from Indeed.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to drop that in the chat, John?
I did just now, actually. Yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah, that's in the chat. Let's see. Yeah, I can drop it again just to make sure.
Okay. Yeah. Drop it in. I think it scrolled up.
Pardon me. Yep.
So that's a great option, because when people calculate salaries, there is 2,080 working hours in a year. And so I'm sure that takes it into consideration when you're calculating it, but that would be a great resource for you guys. Another one to use when you're going through your negotiation. So thanks again. John is available during the chat, or during this time in the chat, and then he'll be in a breakout room. And I don't know if I forgot to say this, but Pam and I will also be in a breakout room answering salary negotiation questions. So thanks for being here, John. We appreciate you and DISYS in the Valley.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. So we're going to move on now to kind of a new company in town, but not a new resident in town. And so these positions are specific to the Phoenix area. Gil, he goes by GW Williams, is the senior technical talent recruiter for Nikola Motor Company here in Phoenix. He recruits for IT, marketing, software, vehicle design teams, and more. He's been with Nikola for a little over a year, but he has 30 years of technology, talent acquisition, HR, organizational development. He has his master's in human resource development from Webster University and his bachelor's in mass communications from New Mexico State University. He's a veteran of the U.S. Air Force. He's also been a former board member with Career Connectors. GW and I, we always say we go back to our Intel days when, gosh, it's been like 15, 20 years now, where we were both the tallest and the loudest people in the whole floor. So welcome to my good friend, GW.
Thank you, Miss Jessica. It's good to see you guys again. It's been maybe a couple of years since I've done a Career Connector kind of thing.
Yep.
So it's always cool to kind of, and again, it's been amazing, the growth of Career Connectors. I remember way back in the day, but this has been totally awesome. And it's really neat to have this kind of service around for people in the Valley. And if you guys don't know Jessica personally, you guys need to. She's full of energy. She kind of told you about, we used to, when we worked at Intel, we were in cubicles, we were just right opposite of each other. And we used to kind of talk kind of loud, and people used to look at us like, and we're pretty tall too. So you say, you guys are tall and loud. So that's kind of how the friendship started. And golly, that's been what, almost 20 years? You can say?
Yeah, I think so.
Long time ago. Well, anyway, and hopefully I can control this, Sheila. I'm saying
You should be able to.
Well, I don't know, how do I do that? How do I move it forward here? Because I've been playing with it and I can't. But anyway, tell you what, I'll let you do that. How's that, Sheila? Oh, there we go. Well, anyway, Nikola Motor. This is a company that it's a startup, okay, and it's was first founded in Utah about 6 years ago. It's been in the Valley about 3. And what we do, you can do the next slide, Sheila. What we do is plain and simple. 2 things. You know, the EV or electric vehicle is here and is here to stay. It's kind of funny. You see all these commercials of the traditional combustion engine companies. When Tesla came around 10, 15 years ago, they all laughed at them. Even when we came around, they all laughed at us because of electric trucks. But now everybody's getting on board with it. And you see all these other companies, everything's electric. But our niche is we're designing and manufacturing battery electric, we call them BEV, battery electric vehicles, and fuel cell hydrogen electric vehicles are really, and we say vehicles, we're really in the semi-truck niche, okay? The other play that a lot of people don't realize, and this is what Nikola really wants to be, is we want to be an energy company. We really want to be the point of the spear in developing the hydrogen infrastructure for the nation. Because again, the world is going zero emissions, and it's here to stay, and we just want to be on the point of the spear in developing that hydrogen infrastructure, as well as electric as well. Next slide. Okay, what's the benefits of electrification, right? And I don't know if some of you out there maybe have a hybrid or electric vehicle right now, so you kind of know a little bit of the benefits of it. The one that I really want everybody to focus on is to the far right, zero emissions. And I can't remember the stats, and I was kind of looking up again because I was in a meeting, maybe about 6 to 8 months ago, about just how much pollution over the road semi-trucks put in the air. And it's pretty daunting. And if you consider that, you know, but that's how America does commerce, right? That if we didn't have the trucks going back and forth, we'd be hurting as an economy. But you also got to realize they're polluting the heck out of our planet. So we really want to get to zero emissions. I think Europe has got a 2030, 2040 when all cars got to be in the zero emissions. So it's happening. But some of the things, like I said, there's a lot more power in electric engines than you'll see in major combustion. But the main thing we're trying to do is the zero emissions. I'll let this soak in a little bit, the slide a little bit. Total cost of ownership is another huge benefit of having electric / hydrogen powered vehicles. Next slide, please, Sheila. Okay, this one's a little bit busy, so I'm gonna let this soak in a little bit, right? But I want to show you kind of the benefits, okay, whether you want an electric vehicle / semi or fuel cell electric vehicle. Now, let me give you the model that we're coming here, if you guys can kind of follow me here a little bit. The electric trucks are going to be like for driving around the city. And I always look at, let me give you an example. Like, let's say you're Budweiser, right? And you're in LA. And you got to bring some beer or whatever here to the Valley. So the electric truck is going to be the one driving around the LA, picking up the different beers from their different distribution centers, the electric truck guy, right? Then he's going to stop and go to a hub and drop his vehicle. And this is, we're talking 3 to 5 years in the future, folks, okay? They're going to stop and drop off their load to a hydrogen powered fuel cell. Okay, that's going to drive from point A to point B. That truck is going to drive from Phoenix to LA. Okay, because you get better economy. Those hydrogen powered trucks go longer. But here's the other thing cool. We are also designing autonomous driving features into our trucks. So what's going to be really freaky here in about probably 7 to 8 years, you're going to be driving down to LA. You're going to look up into this big transformer looking truck, and there ain't going to be no driver in it. It's going to be driving itself from Phoenix to Arizona to LA to Phoenix. And you're going to probably freak out. And when your kids do that, nobody's going to be able to go honk the horn, right? But it's going to be autonomous driving. It comes to a hub here in Phoenix where another guy picks up with this electric BEV, picks up the load, and then distributes the beer around the city. That's kind of like the model, okay, of what this whole thing's about. So, and again, if you look at some of the benefits with electric, like I said, we're going to be using the current grid to plug in your car. If you guys already have electric or hybrid, same thing. You can charge it, plugging it in, charge it. We're also going to have mobile charging stations that when we have our clients, we're going to have a charging station that goes with them, so that when you're driving the truck, let's say you're out in the middle of BFE, you can break out your little charger and plug it in yourself. Okay. To the right, some of the benefits of fuel cell hydrogen powered vehicle, because it's half fuel cell, half electric. Okay. Have a lot longer range, lot lower weight. Okay. As far as, and plus you can carry a little bit more heavy because the truck's gonna be a lot lighter than the traditional combustion engines. And with hydrogen, you can get a full charge of hydrogen in like 20 minutes, just like you're pulling gas. Because charging takes a while. Electric can take hours. With hydrogen, you can be done in about 20, 30 minutes. You're ready to get back on the road. Next slide, please. Okay, these are some of the, we got to make a partnership with Transformers. These things, every time I look at them, they look like freaking Transformers. This is our portfolio right now. To the far left is our first, what we'll be coming off the production lines. And I failed to mention that we have a 1 million square foot manufacturing facility down in Coolidge. And it was started last year. It's not going to be totally completely done until 2023, but we do have a manufacturing techs right now pumping off these trays on the far left. We have 8 prototypes right now that are going through all their validations and everything like that. We also have a partnership over in Europe called Iveco, and Iveco is the largest semi-truck manufacturing over in Europe, and they're our partners. We also have a manufacturing plant over there that will be pumping off these trucks for the European market as well. But the BEV, the Tray BEV, the first one on the left, is the first platform we're going to be pumping off. And it's also kind of like our, I don't say test bed, it's like our launch platform. This is where we're going to test everything. And as anything, we'll be having higher, better versions. And if you move to the right, that's what's going to happen. In 2023, we're going to have the Tray fuel cell electric vehicle. Okay. And then on the far right is the 2. And that's the one that's going to be long haul. And that's going to be and if you see the next gen ZEV, that's zero emission vehicle. Okay. So that's going to be the fuel cell and electric, the one I was talking about earlier. Next slide. Okay. Now, these are, Jessica and Sheila, they were like, hey, G, you can only give me 10 positions. So I went to the recruiters and said, give me some of your hard ones and give me a good one and the bad ones, that I can only put 10. Right now, we have 187 recs open. Now, when I say recs, that's just recs, but some of those recs have multiple headcount on those positions, okay? So anyway, we have over 200 positions right now, and I was just in a staff meeting yesterday, and we're getting about 30 to 50 more. So we are growing like a weed. Some of these roles, the majority of our roles, I will tell you, are in office. We're a manufacturing facility, although the headquarters is in Phoenix and Coolidge is down in, the manufacturing facility is down in Coolidge. The majority of these roles are in the office. However, a lot of the managers, have their own different work from home policies. Sometimes you'll get in a role, well, yeah, you've got to be in the office 2 or 3 days a week, that kind of thing. So, but again, we don't have no remote roles right now. And the majority of them, even if somebody's outside of Phoenix, they'll have to relocate here. And then, like I said, there's a lot of work from home policies depending on the weekday. But one thing that I will also say, if anybody knows anybody from the manufacturer standpoint, I know a lot of people think I don't know anything about cars or how to put cars together, and you don't need to. One thing that's really cool about our head of manufacturing, he came right out of high school and got an apprenticeship at Toyota and just moved his way on up. He was the head of manufacturing at Tesla for a while. So he's the kind of guy that, hey, if you love cars, even if you don't love cars, I can teach you how to build cars. Okay, so if you know anybody that's kind of, maybe you got a teenager that's kind of, Mom, I don't want to get a job. And again, we pay well for manufacturing. You have to, go down to Coolidge, but we're really open and training people on how to build electric cars. So those are some of the headquarter positions. And obviously there are just a few in Coolidge, but again, there's a lot more positions than what this slide shows. And next slide, if you guys want to get a hold of me, that's my email. That's the career site at Nikola Motor, and it's singular, not plural. I know a lot of people always, God, your email's not going. I'm like, did you put an S on motor? Oh yeah, I did. That's why. Okay. And what I'll also do is I'll drop my LinkedIn profile in the chat here. And just one more slide, so you can see that that's how cool things look. That's the future of trucks that you're going to start seeing on the road, hopefully pretty soon.
GW, that is both scary and awesome.
It is kind of cool. When I was hearing that stuff, my mouth was dropping too. But let me just back up and see, this is why this is happening. We're all, some of us are up there in age. I look good for my age. But we all remember back in high school, right? See those truck driver over the road, they were making good money, right? And people were, driving trucks and making good money. But if you notice, in today's day and age, everything's technology. So there's not a lot of people wanting to be over the road truck drivers. So that's the other reason why the autonomous driving is going to be huge, because you don't see those commercials no more. Yeah, truck driver, because nobody's getting in that. Everybody's getting into tech or other areas. So that's another need that we're fulfilling.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, friend. We really appreciate you being here, and lots of good stuff going on. And glad to have Nikola in the area.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, you guys, we're going to move on to Terros Health. And just as a reminder, you guys are so good at the chat today. Thank you for engaging. If you haven't dropped in your LinkedIn URL, please do that so we can all connect with you and help make introductions and things. It's all about networking. So drop your LinkedIn URL and connect with each other. You can send direct messages to any of the speakers that have been on the call, and also you'll be able to talk to them in the breakout room. So Heather is with us today. Heather Sifek is a recruiter that's been with Terros Health for almost 6 years. She has a bachelor's in marketing and over 5 years of recruitment experience, and she enjoys meeting new people and helping them find their dream job. So welcome, Heather. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Jessica. I'm happy to be here. It's been great to see everybody's presentation so far, and I've learned a lot from Pam's presentation as well. A lot of good, valuable information this morning. So I'm glad to be here. My name is Heather Sifek, and I'm here to talk a little bit about Terros Health. So just to start off, who is Terros Health? We've been in the Valley for over 52 years. We started out as literally a tiny little grassroots organization. It was a bunch of friends that recognized a need to help individuals that were struggling with substance abuse, maybe addiction, and it's really grown considerably over the years, so that we started out as Terros Health. Now we're Terros Health because we've incorporated integrated healthcare services as well, because we believe they're very closely linked together. We're a nonprofit organization, and we are hiring for a variety of different positions and basically looking for caring professionals that want to join our team and mirror our core values of integrity, compassion, and empowerment. Next slide, please. So I mentioned integrated healthcare. Terros Health currently has over 15 locations throughout the Valley. They're primarily located through the East and the West Valley and the greater Phoenix area, but we are expanding. We actually have a grant program through the Families First program, which is allowing us to expand our services throughout the entire state of Arizona. We do have a clinic up in the Flagstaff area. We're also in the Kingman, Bullhead City area, Prescott Valley. There's a lot of smaller communities where we're branching out to with this new Families First grant expansion. We also have services down south in the Tucson area too. So if you're in Arizona and you're looking for employment, there's a good chance that there's a location where we may have a position available somewhere in the state of Arizona. It's pretty expanded. We offer a lot of different services. Like I mentioned, integrated healthcare. We do have doctors, nurse practitioners, medical assistants that provide outpatient primary healthcare services. So you can get medical checkups, mental health visits, chronic disease management. We actually have pharmacies in a lot of our outpatient clinics as well. So it's nice because patients can come in to meet with their clinical staff. They can get their medication managed there on site and then get their primary healthcare needs met all in one location. It's one-stop shop, as we like to say, because individuals are much more likely to be engaged in care and receive those services if it's conveniently in one location. We do offer addiction counseling, there's mental health care, there's mobile crisis teams. You may have seen our Terros Health vans throughout the community. It's literally individuals that respond to people who may be in crisis. Using our vehicles, they go out and meet them wherever they are in the community. We have family services, there's even HIV prevention services, free testing. We've got youth prevention services, so many valuable different types of services for all different ages as well. Next slide, please. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of our benefits that we offer for full-time employees. Most of the positions that we're currently hiring for are going to be full-time. Our benefits are available for individuals the first of the month following your date of hire. So that's one thing that I personally love about our benefits at Terros is you don't have to wait like a 90-day probationary period. Some instances, if you start towards the end of the month, you could have full benefits as early as 2 days from then, maybe the next day even. So our benefits do include medical, dental, and vision insurance. We use Blue Cross Blue Shield for our medical plans. There's 10 different plans you can choose from. So whether it's for an individual plan, you have a family, there's a good chance that we have some type of benefit that can meet you and your needs. We also offer group life and disability insurance. We have 401k. Terros will match up to 4% of your contributions after you've been with us for 6 months. But individuals can start contributing to their 401k from their first day. So if you have an existing 401k, you come on board with us, you can easily transition that as well. We offer 4+ weeks of PTO within your first year. And then as you grow your career with Terros, the longer you're with Terros, you accrue additional PTO as well. So I know PTO is something that's really important to people. We want our time off. It's valuable. Our benefits are valuable. So we do offer a lot of good time off. And we have a really great wellness program as well. We do fun activities. Like this week actually happens to be what they call like, well, it's like a, I'm drawing a blank on what it's called. It's part of our wellness program where it's like Spirit Week. That's what it is. So for different days this week, we can wear jeans all day, all week long, and then we have different themed colors. So today is Blue Day for cancer awareness, and it's just kind of fun little things that we have. We have bingo challenges. We have virtual walking challenges. There's prizes you can win. There's an internal platform where individuals like employees can share their progress and what they've been doing for wellness plans. And it really kind of helps encourage, taking time for yourself, being mindful of taking care of your personal needs, as well as, working hard too. So it's kind of a fun balance. And then we have some unique benefits too, like discounts through GCU. We have a unique partnership with them for tuition. Employees can get 10% off their tuition and their family members can get 5% discount. So a lot of great benefits. I'll stop there, but if you have more questions, I could go on and on about the benefits at a later time. Next slide, please. So I want to talk a little bit about a few positions. We have over 100 different positions, everything from administrative roles, again, with over 15 different locations, remote options available. I'm not going to talk about every position that we have available today, but there are a few that I'd like to highlight, some of our greatest need that are primary positions as of today. For example, the Family's First Assessment Clinician position, this comes as part of our grant expansion. It allowed us to open up 57 new positions just within the Families First program. So we are hiring for assessment clinicians. There's a brief list on this slide here. You'll see some of the job duties, some of the minimum qualifications. The full job description is on our careers page. So if you're interested in any of these that I highlight today, I definitely recommend that you go to our careers page or contact me for more information. But we have an assessment clinician. We also have a Families First care coordinator. This is essentially a direct care worker that wants to meet with individuals out in their homes or in the community. It does require a minimum of high school diploma and then some years experience in the behavioral health field as well. Next slide, please. We are also hiring for integrated SMI case managers. And when I say SMI, that stands for serious mental illness. So we have 3 recovery healthcare clinics that are specifically treating adults ages 18 and up. There's 2 locations in Phoenix, 1 in Tempe, that are working with individuals that may be court ordered to receive treatment. They may be diagnosed with a serious mental illness or maybe general mental health as well. So it's any combination of those, but we're looking for caring professionals to meet with them in their homes, in the community, in a clinical setting, maybe even via telehealth. We do offer telehealth services, so we are offering patients the choice of how they want to meet with our caring professionals. We have a lot of full-time positions available in any of those 3 locations. And we're currently hiring for clinicians. We're looking for licensed professionals that are able to offer counseling, clinical services in a variety of different locations as well. Next slide, please. I want to point out a little bit about some of the minimum qualifications for all of our employees and what we're doing as far as onboarding. So anybody that's hired on with Terros Health has to at least have a minimum of a high school diploma or a GED equivalent. Most of our driving positions do require a minimum age of 22 years of age. That's due to license requirements that we work under as well. We report to the Regional Behavioral Health Authority. So of course we have certain requirements we must adhere to. We do have some front office or health center relations specialist positions that are non-driving roles. Those you only have to be 18 years of age. But the majority of our direct care positions are driving roles, which again is 22 years of age minimum. All individuals hired on must be able to pass a background check, a drug screen, a tuberculosis or a TB test. And then we do require a level 1 fingerprint clearance card for all employees. It's based on your background check. But the nice thing is too, is because we require it, if you don't have one and you're hired on, we can actually help you obtain that. So we can get your prints, submit the documentation for you. But for some people, you know, based on their background or lived experience, obtaining that might be a bit challenging. So if you're interested, but you have questions about whether or not you could qualify, let me know, we could talk about it. We do have a lot of positions right now that are virtual or remote. That's probably the #1 question I'm asked lately in this changing work environment. I will say that some of our administrative type of roles they're 100% remote if the position you're in allows you to work efficiently from home. Because our patients are welcome to come into our clinics, all of our clinics have been open throughout the entire pandemic. So we do have in-person, some people work a combination too. So you may work from home a couple days a week in the clinic or out in the community a few days a week as well. So it kind of just depends on the role, but we are mindful of some of the needs for social distancing and whatnot, and of course, protecting the patients and employee safety. So we're making adjustments as needed to offer those options for remote work as well. Listed here, you'll see our website, which is terroshealth.org. Our careers page, again, has all of our positions that are available. So if you're interested in anything within Terros, I highly recommend that you take a look at that. My contact information is here as well, and I'll drop my LinkedIn information in the chat box too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heather. We appreciate you being here today. Lots of good stuff.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to move over to Jason. And one of the things that I mentioned this actually in my keynote this morning about the Great Recession. And one of the things we've noticed is, or the data tells us, is about 40% of people are expected to leave their jobs this year, possibly up to 70%. But one of the reasons is people are looking for doing things differently. and working for people or organizations that, you know, have flexibility and are doing things differently. And so WealthWave is one of those organizations. And Jason is going to tell us a little bit about what they do and how you can get involved with them. He spent 2 decades in the corporate world in the semiconductor industry, and then his business experience has ranged from owning his own consulting firm to purchasing a franchise that he and his wife ran. And then the past 15 years, he has been spent managing his own agency. He's been recognized for his performance in the top 500, been featured on the cover of Business and Finance magazine, and is a multiple 6-figure earner. He co-authored a best-selling book called Winning Ways, and he's been married for 29 years. They have 2 children, and he is the senior marketing director with WealthWave. Jason, welcome to our call.
Thank you so much, Jessica. This is awesome today, by the way. That negotiating thing, you know, I remember when I was changing jobs, it was always very nerve-wracking, you know.
Yes.
You don't want to come off as too arrogant, but at the same time, you want to get your value, and so it's fun. Yeah, if you enjoy doing it, that is. Okay, I think Sheila gave me control. Okay, so as Jessica said, my name is Jason Wiseman. Our company is WealthWave, and we are the How Money Works company. And just to give you a quick background on how I got started here, it was not my intention to be in this industry. I kind of stumbled onto it by accident, seeking some help of my own for our own retirement and investment plan. In my mid to late 30s, I was just a little bit frustrated with how things were going in that area of our life. And I reached out to my CPA and I asked him, do you have anybody who does, you know, insurance planning, investment planning, retirement, because we need some help. And I always like to share that part of the story with you, because this gentleman had been our CPA through the businesses, through the careers, and never once did he say, hey, you know, what are you doing for retirement planning? You know, I see you have a 401k, who's helping you with it. And so even though he was in the money business, there was still this apprehension about talking to us about our future plan. And it wasn't until I was proactive that he said, oh yeah, I have somebody, if somebody asks, that I'll sit them in front of. So we sat with the gentleman, and we had some experience with somebody many years prior that did not go well. In this particular case, we got some education. That's where it all started. It wasn't about, you know, here's this great mutual fund or here's this great account. It was really about our outcome and our family and our children and where we wanted to be retirement wise. And then we opened an account, and through that process, some things ran through my head that might be familiar to you. Number one, how is it that I got to this stage in life and nobody helped me with any of this? And of course, I'm sure at some point, as a young person, as a teenager, my mom and dad probably gave me some money advice that I ignored, like most of us do when we're teenagers. But beyond that, there just really wasn't a lot of support. And so that was frustrating to me. And then, of course, I thought about my own parents, who were far from wealthy, especially when we were younger, and nobody had helped them either. And so their retirement outlook was not bleak, but there were some challenges and there were some things that they were worried about that they probably shouldn't have had they gotten some help. And then that just, you know, my wheels started spinning. I thought of my aunts and uncles. I thought of my peer group that I was working with. And I was so happy with what we did for ourselves that I just asked the guy, you know, what does it take to do what you do? And we went to lunch, and I started part-time, which was very unique. Our industry is not a big fan of a part-time effort. Our company embraces it. And so that's how I got started here. I just think it's important for you to know I was just a normal guy with a family and a job, and you know, the white picket fence story. And I just saw something that I thought would add value to people's lives. So as a company, we want to provide financial education to people. That's at the core of what we do. And then behind that, we provide all the products and services to help somebody get on track and stay on track with whatever they're aiming for an outcome. And so we want to stamp out financial illiteracy. 21 out of 50 states require a personal finance class before kids graduate high school today. And generally speaking, it's not something terribly applicable. If I'm in a live audience, I'll ask people to raise their hand if you took some kind of personal finance class in high school. and not very many hands go up, as you can imagine. And then if they do, and you ask, well, what did you learn? They either don't remember, or they'll say, well, it didn't help me. And so we don't teach it in colleges. I have 2 college students. They're both going to be medical doctors. Believe me when I tell you, they're not taking anything remotely close to any kind of finance, personal or otherwise, business, anything through their college education, which, by the way, they need to learn the biochem and their pursuit of medicine, whatever they choose to do. But boy, money is just going to be a thing in their life. And I wish it was there, but it's not. So fortunately, we've been able to teach them some things. So we really want to stamp out financial literacy and do it in a way that not only teaches the adults like my wife and I at the time what to do, but then do it in such a way that that it impacts the children's lives. And so we wrote a book called How Money Works. Oops, I forgot to put it on my desk. I'm sorry. Stop being a sucker. And I'm gonna just show you a couple pages. It's written, simple. It's simplicity. It's got pictures. In fact, I handed this to a friend of mine that's a plumber. We have a slab leak at our house, unfortunately. And I gave him the book. He asked me for a copy of it. And this is exactly what he did. I'm not kidding you. I handed it to him as he was getting in his truck. He opened it up, and he opened it up to a page that looked like this. And he goes, "Oh, I like this already," because it was pictures. So he'll learn a lot from that. So we are really just driving to help individuals, and eventually we actually have some books in different schools throughout the country, and so we're starting to get a foothold there. And so our mission is really to help people, help families lead a life that is free of financial burden. Jessica mentioned, 40% of people are planning on leaving their jobs. Oftentimes they leave because of the environment. It's usually the number one reason people leave. Right behind that, it's money. They're trying to get more money so they can get behind. And so not only do we provide an environment to help somebody get their money life in order, but we also provide an opportunity for somebody, if they want to teach what we do and get the appropriate licensing and be part of a very large industry. We provide a very fun, upbeat environment that encourages growth and self-development. And there's just a ton of gratification that we get from sitting down and helping families. And so we do it all. It's everything from, your retirement planning, insurance planning, wills, trust, estate plans. We help kids get started with investment accounts. I just sat with a client the other day that's got 3 teenagers, and they've got some money that they've actually been setting aside since birth for the 3 kids, but she's never invested it anywhere. And so I helped her just get some money put someplace where, no guarantees it's going to, skyrocket or anything, but it's getting some growth, because as college gets closer for them, they're realizing that it's going to take quite a bit more money than probably what anybody has saved today. If you have college students, you know exactly what I'm talking about, to get there. So it's all those things. And then I send them the book, and their kids are reading the book. And the older, she's got some younger ones, but the kid that's about 16 years old is starting to ask more questions about things that he's learning in the book. So we really are trying to hit that next generation. This number now is about 500,000 individuals and families since we released the book that have either gotten it or sat through one of our classes. We distribute about 50,000 books a month. We have offices all over the country. We call learning centers. Of course, most of that, just like what we're doing, has turned virtual, which we thought would be detrimental to our cause. But what's happened is exactly the opposite of that. What Zoom has allowed us to do is actually have a broader reach at more convenient times. And, people aren't driving to a place to sit in a classroom and so on and so forth. So it's actually helped us broaden our reach a little bit. Why would you choose us as an example, even if you were thinking, or maybe financial services and education wasn't even on your radar? Number one, we are all 1099, just be perfectly upfront with you. And I was a W-2 employee for many, many years. And I see both sides. There's positive and negative to both. One nice thing about being 1099 is you do get some autonomy. You are in control of your income. The reason that it stops people most of the time is because the road that you have to plow to build something to generate income. And of course, some of the things I've listed here, we have a turnkey solution. So everything that I've showed you, if you go to our websites, it's all there and readily available. And that's the day somebody starts with us, that is available to them to use for their business. So you're not spending months and months being the creative person and the marketing person and figuring out compensation plans and going and getting contracts with all the different providers that you may need for the business. It's all under one hood. It's a licensed profession. That is a barrier to entry, and we're glad that it's that way. It's highly regulated. My licensing required a federal background check, so it's not just for anybody, but for the right person, you can make a very good career. And of course, because it's licensed and because we deal with money, the compensation can be great for the right individual. You have ownership. This, people call it the plan B. Millennials call it side hustle. I call it plan B. But having a part-time income alongside of a corporate career is oftentimes a very smart thing to do. It can increase contributions to retirement savings. If there is a layoff or a downturn or a transition, it can bridge the gap. And for retirement, most of us don't have pensions. So imagine, even if you built a little side business that was paying, $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, or even more, depending on how hard you worked at it, that's money that can stay with somebody through retirement. And just to put it in perspective, a $50,000 a year retirement requires almost $1 million in cash savings to do that. And so for me, I looked at it this way: I'm going to work either way. So if I can work on my own terms and build that, then that's a good retirement plan for us as well. We can start part-time. We've never had a layoff or a furlough with our field force. In fact, we've gotten bigger. The company's grown about 6x since I started here 15 years ago. The field force has. The hands-on training and mentorship is huge. It comes from people that started right where a new person start and have built their business the same way that a new person would build it. So there's no theory, there's no pie in the sky. This is what we do to make it work. And then we've got a pretty long history of helping families. We are partnered with Transamerica, and of course, Transamerica, if you know their history, have been around since the early 1900s, was started here in the United States. And they pour a lot of corporate money behind us, even though we're 1099 and platform and branding and regulation and so on and so forth that we have to comply to do our jobs, to help us stay ahead of the game and stay in business. So if you'd like to learn more, on Monday, the 16th, you can take your phone and grab this QR code. And what that will do is send me an email. I will personally respond to that. And on Monday at noon, we'll just take a more in-depth look, and I'm an open book. I'll answer questions, whatever you have. And we can just talk about what the next steps are from there. And if you know somebody, of course, we'd love to meet them. My contact information is here, and it's super easy to find us on the web. So just take a picture of that or send me an email directly, and I'll send you the link for our Monday Zoom session. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jason. We really appreciate. I know quite a few people have worked with you, and so we're glad to have you here as another option. All right, you guys. We are going to move to our just close out and give some additional resources as you are with us today. So first of all, if you have any feedback for us, contact@careerconnectors.org is great. Connect with me on LinkedIn, shoot me a direct message. You can send it that way. But if you have any feedback at all, if you have feedback about what you would like to see in the future or other topics we can address, we would love to hear that from you. We also want to thank all of our partners and sponsors, and some of them are here today. And so thank you guys for making these events happen and being partnered with us. And so Sheila, if you want to move on one slide, there we go. So thank you for your partnership. We greatly appreciate you guys. All right, here's some resources, you guys. The DISC assessment is an assessment that you can take. It's behavioral based, and you can have it for free through a partnership with Top Talent Consulting. Just go on to our website, careerconnectors.org/DISC, and it will ask you some information. And then it takes about 10 minutes, and you'll get a report. It's about 24 pages. And it goes into your ideal work environment, your style, some of your strengths, and you can use that for your interviews. You can use that, incorporate some of that verbiage into your resume. So feel free to take that assessment. I also mentioned that we have a recap blog. So the content from today is being written down and blogged by one of our awesome volunteers, and that will be posted on our website. Usually takes a couple days to get that one up. The video recording of this webinar should be up today on our website, but the blog will be up in a couple more days after that. And then portraits. And so you guys, we have someone, and I'm going to talk about portraits and where they are in a little bit, and how you can get yours done. Also connect with us on social media. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So here is our upcoming keynote speaker schedule. So August 26th is our next event, Networking Anywhere by Erica Macbeth. And we have Rogers and Amcor, and then Jason will be back as one of our sponsors again. They are hiring companies that day. And then on Thursday, September 9th, you don't miss this. September is Update Your Resume Month. And what we do every September is we bring in some of the best, most well-respected resume writers, and they're professional, certified through the National Association of Resume Writers. And these ladies know what they're talking about. We tackle some of the hard questions when it comes to resumes, what to include, what not to include, format, how to get through the applicant tracking system, and more. And so that is September 9th. Concentrix is on our schedule right now, but there will be some more hiring companies that day. And then Thursday, September 23rd, we're doing something new. We are doing a hiring event with Arizona at Work, Maricopa County, and it's for in the Phoenix area. We are divided up in kind of a couple different areas. These are going to be East Valley employers. And it's also going to be on a new platform called Brazen, which is more of a career fair type platform. These are all the companies that we have booked right now. There's a lot on there. You can pop in and talk one-on-one with recruiters and hiring managers from each of these companies. And so we're expecting, tell your friends about this event, because these are companies that are actively hiring and ready to go. So join us on September 23rd for that event. Now, as I mentioned, photos. You guys, we have this awesome volunteer. His name is Gordon Murray with Flash Photo. And you know what he does? This is so cool. So before we had to go all virtual, we would have a photographer come and take LinkedIn business portraits for you, send them to you so you could get them on our website, download them, and put them on your LinkedIn profile. Well, obviously, we're not doing face-to-face right now, hopefully soon. But we've had this awesome man, Gordon Murray. He is traveling around Arizona, and he is taking photos for people at no cost. And they're phenomenal. You guys, the headshots are phenomenal. And so you can see his schedule right there. August 11, nope, that was yesterday. August 20th is next. He'll be in Maricopa, and then 25th in Glendale. And then we'll have some more dates coming up. But you just go, sign up, then you go, and it's free. But if you want to give a donation, you are more than welcome to give a donation. But make sure you get that done, and make sure you have a really good headshot on your LinkedIn profile. That's important. All right, now that you have registered, if you did register for this event, which most likely you did to get in today, you will be getting our email updates on Monday mornings. And if you did, if you're new and you got here through a friend, or you're watching this on Facebook, or you're watching the replay, sign up under our careerconnectors.org website where it says subscribe, and you will get an email with the upcoming events for the week, every week. We also have some webinars and some content for you under those 3 buckets, but the one on the right, CC webinars, that's the one where this talk today will be posted. And so you can go ahead and review all the stuff we talked about, salaries, and then our hiring companies. Thank you to our amazing volunteers. We had, I talked to you guys about the event recap. Gary Matsuda, it was writing away. We have Gian, the whole Resume Writers Council. Thank you for your support. We have coaches in the breakout rooms in just a little bit. So thank you all. Thank you for all your awesome support. We are always looking for blog writers. And so we would love, if you're interested in writing for us, we ask that you support one event a month, and you attend, and then you write it out in a recap. If you can do one a quarter even, but we would love to have some additional event recap writers. Now, you may not know this, but we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And the reason we get to do what we do is by awesome, amazing donors like you. And so during this time in career transition, when you do land, we would love to have your support. And so it takes about $42 per person for us to run this event. And so thank you to everyone that has given. Last year rocked our world. And there were times I remember picking up a donation check at our mailbox and sitting in my car crying, because that's how we got through that week. So every dollar counts. We're so grateful for those of you that have given. And then there are many people that have gone before you and given to support those of you that are in the room today. So thank you for that. We really appreciate it. And from me and my team, I just want you to know that we are here to support you as you go through this time. And we're so glad you were able to be on the call today. I'm going to shoot it over to Sheila, and she is going to walk us all through how to get into our breakout rooms. But I am grateful you all are here, and we are continuing to pray for you that you land into the career of your dreams. Thank you, guys. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. So I just want to second that we are here to help. If anybody has questions, please connect with me on LinkedIn, reach out, or we already gave my email, Sheila@careerconnectors.org. I am happy to